The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café.
Welcome to this episode of Pit Life BBQ. Gather around the pit with your hosts, Johnny Maggs and Greg the Barbecue Broker DiGiorgio. Let's talk barbecue.
What's up, everybody? Coming to you live from the Studio 21 Podcast Café in Salem, New Hampshire. It's Pit Life BBQ Podcast, where we talk everything barbecue and a lot of other topics that you normally talk around the pit. As always, I'm joined by the Barbecue Broker.
Yes, you are, my brother.
Hi, brother.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Here I am.
There you are.
How was your week?
Fantastic. I like your shirt. Eat barbecue.
Eat barbecue. It's my dude, Eric. Barbecue family right there. Sent me, actually hand-delivered to my house. And check him out, eat_barbecue on Instagram. Young guy, aspiring pitmaster. I love to see young people getting into the game early on, because when they're our age, they're going to be beasts. He's already putting out some great stuff, too. So check him out, Eat Barbecue on Instagram.
Look, check that bad boy out. Yeah.
Cooking Cop and the Babe.
That's right, my boy Josh and Babe out in Cali.
Yep.
Yep. Representing the fam.
Get the fam. 100%.
So, how did it go?
You want to know how my first week was on the Beasts?
Yeah, give me the Cliff Note version.
The Cliff Note version is she is unreal. She runs like a Maserati. I had her in the cold. I started her up, and she was at 250 degrees. I still had ice on my firebox, on the outside of my firebox. That's how insulated it is. She ran her in the rain. It just runs smooth. There's really no hot spots. I tested a rack out right next to the firebox on the far right in the bottom. It was getting just as much color and was cooking just as evenly as the other side of the rack. So I am, for the first week, pretty ecstatic.
Nice.
For the new backline.
Nice.
My briskets came out great. I cooked 4 prime briskets this weekend. I probably did 6 racks of ribs, 10 pounds of pork belly, 2 whole chickens, and I just had people drop off food so I could practice on it. So my neighbors ate well, and so did a few other people.
Hey, it works. That's one way of doing it.
That's the Cliff Note version.
I love it.
Let's talk about who this show is brought to you by, and first is brought by Uncle Steve's Shake. Have you ever stopped to wonder why every time your neighbor has a barbecue, there's a line of people just waiting to get into his backyard, but yet when you have a barbecue, no one's coming by? The simple answer to those questions is that your neighbor's using Uncle Steve's Shake, and apparently you're not, which means one thing: you better get you some. Look, Uncle Steve's Shake is handmade using the finest ingredients, and now comes in 9 awesome flavors, including the new competition line. If you can eat it, we have a shake for it. And if you have any shake questions, Uncle Steve has fantastic customer service. He'll walk you through all your shake needs. It's time to take your backyard barbecue game to the next level with Uncle Steve's Shake. Shake some on everything. Check him out at UncleSteve'sShake.com. You won't be sorry. And today's show is also brought to you by
our friends at Two Guys Smoke Shop and TwoGuysCigars.com. Whether we are barbecuing or not, we always keep the smoke rolling thanks to our friends at TwoGuysCigars.com. Today we were smoking the Toscano Ducento. Thanks to our friends from TwoGuysCigars.com, we get to smoke some of the best cigars in the world, and so can you. Just visit TwoGuysCigars.com for your perfect barbecue companion. That's the number 2, GuysCigars.com. So you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a great episode.
I'm really excited about this episode, actually.
There is going to be
it's something that we use daily.
Plethora of knowledge.
It's something that we use daily in barbecue.
Yep.
It's a necessity for cooking. Mm-hmm. It's something you can buy almost anywhere, not maybe the specific kind, but a product, a variation of.
Yep.
And we'll talk about why this is one of the better ones.
Absolutely.
What is this? What are we talking about right now?
We are talking about, today we are being joined by a well, how do I want to phrase this? A true barbecue student.
An aficionado.
An aficionado, a passionado, the whole 9 yards.
Straight up barbecue nerd.
And I love it. I love it. We had a conversation last week for about just under an hour.
You told me.
And it was blowing my mind.
Uh-huh.
But let's just get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from B&B Charcoal, Mr. Ed Reilly. What's up, Ed? How are you?
How are you, Ed?
How you doing, brothers? How are things going in New England?
Oh,
Things are just doing
cold.
That's what you expect.
Yeah, it's January. What the hell?
January, exactly. Unless you're in Florida, that's going to be the same answer across the country.
Ice on all my smokers this morning. Ice.
Man.
Just ice.
That's a true barbecue aficionados. If you going out checking your smokers and you got stuff in your smokers, man, hands down, good job.
It doesn't stop around here.
It doesn't stop here. No. We shovel our driveways, and then we shovel the barbecue pits.
Oh, no, we shovel the barbecue pits, then we shovel
then
the
we shoveled it. Yeah. Depending on schedules, but usually I try to hit the pit first. Exactly. So it's great to have you, Ed. So exciting because everyone knows who B&B Charcoal is.
Oh, yeah. But for those who might live under a rock or something.
Which those, you know who you are.
Yes. We're talking you know who you are.
Specifically you.
Ed, give us a rundown of a quick rundown of the history of B&B.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so B&B's been around since about 1961. There are over 60 different products, different things to cook outside with. The Kiner family is, they've been knee deep in this stuff for a long time, and then just about everybody who's in their family is involved in the business. So it's a family-run business. I'm just a sales guy from the outside. I came in about 1.5 years ago, but I've learned so much about the final ingredient, which is your charcoal. I've been in barbecue for over 25 years on the manufacturer side. I've worked for Weber and Charbroil and Sunbeam and Old World Spices, a variety of whole different type of manufacturers. But one thing I never considered was the third ingredient, your barbecue, the actual, the wood or the charcoal or the pellets that you use. It adds a flavor, and it's a flavor profile that's very distinctive depending on the type of wood you're using. And it's the first taste that you perceive. When you go to eat barbecue, your nose is queuing up your taste buds to about, what's about to hit your lips, basically. Without that wood flavoring on the outside of it, you're missing a flavor profile of your barbecue. So,
yeah,
fact.
I mean, it really is. It starts there. For some, it starts with charcoal. For some, it starts with wood. For me, it starts with a little of both because I use a little bit of lump to get my...
Just like when you do the rubs, you layer your rubs. Yeah. You could layer your smoke profiles too. You could start with the base. You hit it in the middle with, you go with your, hickory or oaks, and then you can, people like to have a sweeter finish, especially when you have some sauce on like your ribs or your maybe even the finishing on some of your briskets. They'll add a sweeter like a cherry or apple to tack up your sauce a little bit on the outside of it. So you get a multiple flavors of wood smoke on that, to go with the proteins and the rubs and the marinades that you use too. They all work together.
Yeah, 100%. Smoke profiles. That gets me so excited.
I know.
Why?
Because it's a whole different area.
Why am I that excited over smoke profiles?
Because you can change it up now.
And we're not even talking about weed, and I'm still excited.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Bring it back. Okay, we're good.
Goose-fraba.
So, Ed, after we had spoken last week. We had a great conversation, and there were a few things that kind of blew my mind. And so, as far as B&B as a company, how the hell do you put it?
How would you fall in the category of other charcoal? Yeah. I guess the competition. Let's call it how it is.
Because obviously B&B is so well known and, out in the forefront of, see all the pictures and everything of all the groups. You said something to me that was very interesting.
And I was going to say the same thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like, is it just known for the barbecue guys, or is it known outside of the barbecue guys or family, so to speak, right?
I'm finding it's not that well known outside of the barbecue guys. In the competition world, like when I go to a contest, I see our bags a lot of places. But when you go to just backyarders, most of our customers are backyarders, but most backyarders don't know who we are. If you look at the size of something like a Kingsford or something, we're less than a 1% size of Kingsford as far as what our size of our company is.
Did you say less than 1%?
Yeah.
Less than 1%. I mean,
that's incredible.
We're tiny. We're a boot. I think we even said boutique barbecue.
Boutique,
yeah.
Boutique briquettes.
Boutique.
That's it.
Yeah.
We are
boutique charcoal.
No kidding. I thought you were much bigger than that.
Completely blew my mind when
you would think that they had that just from, you see them all over the place. I mean, for me, maybe it's because I'm just in it and I'm always looking at barbecue stuff on Instagram. I see B&B tagged in so many post stories. A lot of Texas guys using B&B. Are you guys out of Texas?
Yes.
Is that,
yes. So it's about 45 minutes south of San Antonio. So we've got a great presence in Texas. It's available a lot of different places in Texas, but outside of Texas, up to a year ago, you couldn't find the stuff. It was in Academy Sports, which is a Texas-based retail chain. I think they have 200 some odd stores throughout the Southeast, but that was it. We're now in Ace, so that helps a lot. You can go on to Ace's main website and order it, and it will be delivered to the closest Ace store to you. So that's going to be helpful. We're in just got a couple of test stores in Lowe's, so we're trying out Lowe's a little bit. And like Rural King and some other places in the Midwest. We're getting our putting our toes in the water out there because I think in this past year especially, everybody's been at home more. They've been cooking out more, and quality rises to the top. Like cream rises to the top. People are seeking out a better ingredient, and our briquettes are better. Our lump is better. Our wood is kilned better, so it has a better effect when you cook out. It's that not all charcoal is made equal. And quality matters. And when you cook with our stuff, you're like, okay, now I taste the difference. There's some other good quality charcoal people out there too, but we don't, with our briquettes, we don't add anything to it. There's no mineral char in it. If you look online to see what some of the other big guys put in their stuff, it's limestone, borax, a lot of coal char in there. Yeah. All that stuff is a waste of your time and money. Ours is 100% oak char. You get a consistent and consistent smoke profile off of it.
So when you say yours is kiln dried better, elaborate on that. Because to me, the average person, kiln dried is kiln dried.
It is, and there's an FDA requirement for that. But we don't own forest. We don't own tracts of land. So all our wood is hand selected. When private farmers bring their wood samples in, we look at it. There's moisture testing, and we won't take something that's too dry or something that's too rotted or wet.
Okay.
If you your own tracts of wood and you go out and you cull the trees, you're going to use everything because that's your property, your wood, and you're going to do what you want. We have the option of taking a look at a piece of hickory and like, no, thank you. No, thank you. We don't want that. So they only bring us the best quality wood. You start out with the better ingredient like that, then our kilns are, I don't know, it's proprietary, but I know that they don't like to talk about too much about how they do it, but how they stack it in the kilns. So you can get the idea of killing the wood is to kill all the bacteria and all the bugs in there. So you're not taking any fungus or anything from one state to the other.
Right.
But then we air dry afterwards. Our wood, and that's one of the reasons why they can't sell wood by weight, because our wood, wood dries out over a period of time. Our wood dries out less. You guys up in New England know if you got a piece of firewood that sits outside for 5 or 6 years, it's not going to be as good as a one seasoned wood. So our wood, by the time it's in the bag and on the shelf, is only 1 season old. So you're going to get the highest quality wood. It's not 3, 4, 5, or 6 years old, because you got a drier wood. The drier the wood, the less of the cell membranes, the lanakins and stuff inside that wood. That produces the smoke.
He just said lanakins, John.
I know.
The hell's a lanakin? Like a mineral?
It's a membrane of the cellulose membrane inside the wood.
Cellulose.
I might be saying it wrong, but it's I can't spell it. But it's one of the things that when you burn hickory, it makes it smell like hickory. When you burn mesquite, it makes it smell like mesquite.
Because I've always said that wood has different, when you're burning, say, wood over charcoal, you're getting all those different flavor profiles throughout the whole cycle of each burning cycle. And this just goes right back to that, basically, because what he's saying is he's making sure that before they make their charcoal, they're getting, in a sense, the ripest wood.
The best wood, right.
The best or the ripest wood that you can get, at its peak or before its peak. So when you know that after you kill and dry it, you're still going to have the flavor. And what did he say? Lectins? What did he say?
Am I saying it wrong?
Lectin? No, I don't even know. I'm getting it wrong because I don't know. It's the first time I heard you say it. But whatever he said, all the
cell membranes. They're the cell membranes.
The cellulose membranes. But I love to hear this. So that is, you hand select it, which is probably why you can't mass produce like maybe some of the other people that use fillers.
And we don't add stuff. A lot of places will add stuff to, obviously not their, you can't add it to the wood, but they add it to the charcoal to add weight to it. They add different things, additives to it, and they use a lot of industrial scrap wood as well. Our briquettes are made straight from our lump charcoal process. After we get done with our oak lump, the smaller pieces, the fines, is what we make our briquettes out of. So there's no additional, there's a lot of people that use lumber scraps. You can, furniture is made out of hardwood, right? But it's been milled. It's been, some people buy the extra furniture scraps from bed frames and couches and stuff, and they use that in the briquettes. Yeah, it's hardwood, but how old is that? So our briquettes are made from our oak char, which is hand selected just, a couple of months earlier for our oak lump process. And we don't mix our hardwood. So, when you get a bag of our oak lump, it's oak lump. When you get a bag of our mesquite, it's a mesquite. A bag of our hickory is hickory. That gets you a consistent BTUs because everything's burning the same. And everything's smelling the same. And that's important as a chef. You want that predictable, repeatable process. So once you hit it, when you got that taste profile you want, you go back to a bag of our stuff and you're going to get the same thing you got last time. And that's important.
Besides the smoker, did you have a question? Just had a quick one.
No, I was just agreeing with him because, each wood actually burns differently also.
That's right.
So if you get a certain company's charcoal, they'll throw this, they'll throw that, the filler, other woods in it. So each bag is going to be different. While B&B is straight, just like you said, it's going to be the same every time. Why is McDonald's so successful? Because no matter where in the world you go, that cheeseburger is going to be exactly the same.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know when I would use lump over briquettes, sometimes it's the BTUs that I want, or sometimes it's the vessel that I'm cooking in, like the Kamado likes the you love the lump charcoal. When would you recommend someone outside of the vessel that they're using? When would you recommend a lump over briquettes?
I'm of the opinion that on your deck, on your outdoor kitchen, you need a variety of cooking appliances. I've got a few myself, and I like using different things for different things. Just like in your kitchen at home, you got a toaster for this, a microwave for that, an oven for that, or a stovetop for this. I think on your deck, you need a variety of cooking appliances. You need the Kamado for this. You need the offset for that. I've got a Weber 22 kettle, a couple of them, that they have a certain spot for it as well. I've got gas grills, and I've been playing with the griddle lately too. So every appliance is used different things, and you can mix it up as well. I would use lump. Lump has, I'm going to reverse that. I think that lump has certain characteristics that briquettes don't, and vice versa, depending on what you're looking for. Your lump is going to burn hotter, 800 to 1,000 degrees on the surface of that lump. Your briquettes won't get that. Your lump is going to have unevenness because you have big pieces and little pieces, right? So there's more fire management, but that also means it could fluctuate better too. Like if it's getting away from you, you can tone it in quicker too. Just a little bit of adjustment goes a long way with the lump. But with the briquettes, you've got a consistency, but it's a little harder to move it off of where you want it. Like to stoke it up takes a little more. To get your lump going hotter, you just open it up and it gets hot, right? With your briquettes, it takes a little bit more to get the briquettes hotter than you want. So if I'm doing something I want consistent temperature, I'm doing briquettes. If I want the higher heat, I'm doing lump.
Mm-hmm.
I notice a lot of people who use steak like the briquettes because it's a short burst of time that they want. But for a Kamado, I'm using lump in a Kamado because I like that smokier flavor that you get. You can get more smoke flavor from lump than you can briquettes because it's broken down by the time I got to a briquette. But with the briquettes, you can add flavors. You can put a piece of maple or cherry on top of that, and put a chunk on top of that to get very specific smoke profiles that you're looking for. The lump tends to break down quicker. It burns faster. The briquettes last a little longer. So,
do they?
Maybe if I'm doing an offset, like a pizza or something like that, I'm using some briquettes because I don't want to be messing with my fire as much as I'm working with the pies, getting them on and off like that. So I want that consistent heat that the briquettes, and I'm opening and closing the grill a little bit more, which would affect the lump, but it wouldn't affect the briquettes as much. So with the lump, you get hotter, more affected by air, so you have a little more fire management, and the burns quicker. So briquettes, you get a little lower temperature, but you get the consistency, and you get a longer burn with briquettes. So those are the benefits and cons in both of those. So depending on what you're cooking, on what you need. I have, and everybody should have a bag of lump and a bag of briquettes. And you could even mix it too. I've seen people in long cooks that start out with we've got something called a char log. They start with the char log, which is like a briquette, and then they put lump on top of that to give it some smoky profile, and then they put chunks on top of that to give it another smoky profile. Yeah. So you can even combine all three of them if you wanted to.
Because I've always thought, just from using lump mostly in my green egg, and it's just, maybe it was just the vessel, but I was always under the assumption that lump burns hotter and longer than briquettes. I always found briquettes would die out quicker if you grill and stuff like that.
Using the wrong briquettes.
That's maybe the problem, brother.
That's it.
Because
you're not using B&B.
I'm not using B&B, apparently. Maybe I should be. You need to get them in the bigger box stores. That's what I think.
Working on it.
I know.
He's working on it.
How many? It's been since 1961, for crying out loud. Make a move already. Let's go. You want some help?
That's why we're talking to you guys.
So you guys need to advertise on the podcast is what it is.
Okay, Ed, here's the point. When we had referenced earlier that B&B is truly, in as far as the charcoal world, is truly a boutique company, so a small company. Can you tell everybody, because this one really took me over. This one almost took me over as much as how many grills you had, but we'll get there.
We'll get to that.
How many employees does B&B have as a company in whole?
Now, I'm not charging payroll, but I've only met about 5 people, and I'd imagine there's probably another 5 that I haven't met. So, like 12 people that work there.
Dozen people for this company.
That's crazy. If you get 24, maybe you get yourself into the big box store. Just saying, more people to select more wood.
We don't want to. You don't want to skimp on the quality.
But here's the thing: there is something to say.
It's been a lot of capital investment, so we're working on getting. Because we're talking to you guys and getting that consumer demand helps. Because when I knock on the door to Lowe's or a Depot or someplace, they're like, "Yeah, we've heard of you, but nobody's asking for your product."
Oh well, we'll get a lot. You want people to go ask for your product? Just say the word.
That makes my job easy.
That's it.
I'll have 50 people in line tomorrow asking for B&B Charcoal at Lowe's. Okay, if that's where you want to go.
That's exactly what we want, because that way we can get it to people. Because at the end of the day, the more people that are cooking out, the better the world's going to be. Nobody's arguing about politics or religion. Nope. They just want another rib or some brisket.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I think when you drive into a neighborhood, and I've said this 100 times, if everybody's cooking outside, that's a place you want to live. Now, if everybody's inside watching the news, CNN or Fox or whatever, that's a contentious type of, everybody's suspicious and stuff. But if you're outdoor cooking, it's a better place. So just the more people, and the more somebody cooks out and that does a good job at it, and they get that attaboy or that attagirl, the more they're going to want to cook out. They're like, oh, wow, this turned out good. These people are happy.
Absolutely.
I got a few attaboys, and now I have a 500-pound smoker. 500-gallon smoker.
500-gallon smoker. So let's move on to the vessels and everything.
Yeah.
So like you said,
hold on. Let's have a little fun with this before he says the number. Let's have a little fun with it. With our watchers. So,
steer the ship, my friend.
So just first of all, some shout outs. Mike C, brother, what's up? Brad, Kent, Daddy Dutch, K Yor, what's up, Gray? Randy, Kiki Longo, what's up?
Uncle Steve,
Uncle
Lep,
Steve.
Eddie, Gary Haywood,
Thanks for watching.
Corey.
We're going to throw it out there. I'd like for you guys to guess how, because we know the answer to this already, okay? We have to. It's our job. But I want you guys to just throw up here into the chat how many vessels you think Ed owns. I'm not giving any hints. You get 30 seconds. Throw it up there right now. Let's see what you come up with. Let's see if anyone is close. And the closest person, what are we going to do?
I'll give him a B&B hat and some and whatever else I can find in my drawer at the office.
B&B hat and a set of Eddie's underwear. All right.
There we go.
Let's go. So, come on, guys. Let's see. How many vessels does Ed have?
We have Lep is the first one at 23, Crawdaddy at 18,
How come I'm not
Ross
getting this?
Schmidt at 6,
Ooh.
Randy Salinas at 6,
You must have faster internet than I do.
Brad Miranda Bell, 10.
I'm not getting any of these.
Gary Haywood says 4.
Gary Haywood says
Gray says 30.
4. Gray says 30.
Juke Marino says 12.
Okay.
Okay.
And we should cut it down. And Brad now says 7. So I would say you've got 10 seconds left
10.
to get your guess in.
Anyone
9.
else?
Kent said 7.
8.
Edward Kogan said 16.
7.
Tracy said 22.
6, 5,
Kent's
Come on,
trying to
guys.
game the system.
4,
Let's go.
3. Kent's going the wrong way. 2, 1.
Let's see.
Guys, before you say it, add up all those numbers that you just got.
All right, add them up. Let's
23, 18. Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
go. You're asking this guy to add. He went to Woburn schools. Come on.
That's
that's
10, 42, 47, 56, 92, 104, 134, 138, 12, that's 150.
Longest drum roll ever. Keep going.
We're right about 170. 70 is a round number right here, Ed.
And who's the highest? Was it Juke at 30?
Gray Reiner.
Gray
They
Reiner.
even added up. How close are they?
Gray
How
Reiner
close? Yeah.
is 30. So
Okay.
he is the highest.
The number.
So he is the actually closest without going over.
The
Yeah, exactly.
total number of vessels that
Is-
Ed Reilly from B&B Charcoal owns is
Oh, you want me to say it?
Yes.
Yes.
700 well, it's probably 850 now.
Congratulations, Gray. You were close, but off still by 800, but still pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Considering it was Kent's
Off by
5.
about 820.
Kent, you went the wrong way, bro. Obviously, you know this was going to be a ridiculous amount of, if you didn't know already.
Whenever he told me that.
I'm not even getting the updates for some reason. Why is that?
I don't
Isn't
know.
that crazy? Dude, tell us about, first of all, where do you keep these? Because, where do you keep them?
Right now, they're mainly in storage units, basements, garages. I got them in chicken coops. I've got them in my yard. They're just all over the place.
Chicken coops.
In Georgia, we got large chicken coops.
Yep. Now when we had spoke last week, you had said you had just you just purchased a new one and you had sent me pictures,
Okay.
and we actually have pictures, the ones that you sent me. That right there,
What?
which is I think this is the one that you had found in the islands,
St. Croix. Yeah.
St. Croix.
Come on.
This
What?
grill,
is
so
that?
that's where this grill was located.
Fire in the bottom?
Yeah, fire in the
Yeah, it's
bottom.
called it's a Caribbean style grill. They call it a coal pot in the islands, but it's I think I sent you during the '60s. They like Charbroil made it. There's a couple of aluminum companies that made them, but they were whenever something comes to America, we always used it as a grill. We put coal in it and cooked steaks on it. But you saw President Eisenhower using a very similar one.
Yeah,
in
we
the
have
White
that
House.
picture right there, just showing up right there. And that grill dates back to
The one, I'm looking at it right now. I've actually got another one in the car too with me. But it's probably the way this thing looks, 200 years old. Yeah, it's old.
Isn't that amazing?
that's
It
why.
looks like a
150.
huge guacamole muddling bowl from the pictures. It's massive.
Oh yeah,
Looks pretty big.
but yeah, that's
And
absolutely
the air comes right up to the
wild.
bottom like a chip. Yeah, that's freaking amazing.
So those things, and that's just it. Those people, how many different dinners has that cooked for? You know what I mean? That to me is the exciting part. That's been a part of somebody's family,
Generations.
Skills, and just imagine all the people who sat down and rubbed their stomach afterwards, like, oh, that tasted great. Because anything you cook over natural fire outside is going to have a nicer taste to it, a different taste profile.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And just knowing that's been a part of so many people's families for such a long period of time. I mean, I'm just happy to have something like that, because who knows what would have happened to these things. Now people collect Webers and then some of the other big name things people collect. But a lot of these other ones, like this other one I just got, it's just a no name grill. But if just like today we cook out for special occasions, that's what these were used for, special occasions.
Yeah.
So it's to me, I think it's kind of cool that they're still around and they've been a part of so many people's families for such a long time.
So you obviously are a collector of grills. Well, what do you have on hand that you cook on? Your favorite, your top 3 faves?
Ooh, good
So
question.
my wife does most of the cooking. She actually asked me tonight, am I going to be home late? I said, define late.
Stop now. Stop admitting that to everybody. So go ahead.
So she cooks on a gas grill primarily. So
Okay.
it's a Weber gas grill. Just get out, get it down, and get it back in. My favorite to cook on, I do like the Weber kettles. They're just so universal. You can do a lot of stuff with them.
Agreed.
And once I get, I'm building a shed on my, so I'm going to have a test kitchen, and I've got, the top 5 grills I'm going to cook on, probably the last 5 I got. And these are ones that I found one in Pennsylvania that goes back to the 1930s. I just can't wait to cook on that thing. It's got, it's an open brazier basically, but it's just to know that you're cooking on a piece of history. Those are the type of things that I'm going to enjoy cooking on. It's probably the kettle, and then I've been experimenting a lot because of what I do. I'm trying to been using I've got pellets. One of the things that B&B has is pellets. So I've been using the pellets on griddles. So I take a griddle and I put pellets in a tube and then just put a dome over top of it and smoke bacon, onions. I did just different things. You could, as you're frying it on the griddle top, you can trap that smoke in there and infuses it into the vegetables or the meats that you're cooking.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Ed. That one of our good friends in here, Lep, he goes by, is mainly known, but Paul Jason Keaton, better known as Lep, he actually did a full pack brisket on the Blackstone griddle with pellets in the tube.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
So he put
And
it.
he probably had it, the heat was down low, so he probably got a great bark on the outside of that brisket.
Yeah.
So
it
wait,
was
he
beautiful.
didn't put it directly on the black. He put.
No,
it must have been raised up a little bit.
Yeah, it was raised up, so you get the
circulation and everything. Yep.
But he had the smoke tube and the cover right there on the flat top griddle.
on.
Full pack brisket. He's got a video on it and everything. It was tremendous.
That's a large
I heard
chunk
it. You
of
told me about that, and I don't know if I actually believed you at the time.
Lep, say it.
That's a real story,
He's
huh?
in there. True
I
story.
thought you were just blowing smoke up
He
my
went
ass
live
you always do.
8 times throughout the whole cook. It was
That's
tremendous.
freaking awesome, Lep. That is great, dude.
But
That shows ingenuity and creativity right there.
so Ed, you are saving barbecue history here with these with the grills and everything, but you also have a passion for barbecue cookbooks and all other literature based around barbecue and cooking and charcoal itself. Is that that's correct?
I've got about 2,500 books, articles, magazines, catalogs, that type of stuff that I started collecting to document the grills. Because if you get an old grill, you go back to Montgomery Ward's or Sears catalog, or like I just got a Woman's Day magazine from 1957. There's 2 grills pictures in there that I'm got to go identify. I think I've got one of them. So, and they always give the credits in those magazines of what grills they're cooking on. So by buying these old things, and this one, where is it? Right here. It's a 1950. What is it? 59. May 1959. Better Homes and Garden, and it's got an outdoor cookery pull-out section in it. So when they do these things, they're cooking on grills from the time period, and then they credit the grills so you can find out what they are. But that also gives you kind of a time capsule of what outdoor cooking was in 1959, what they wore, what they cooked, the dinnerware they served it on, that type of stuff. So it is kind of like a time capsule. Outdoor cooking it's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed in the same type of thing, because it's still the basics. You need proteins, you need a rub and spice, and then you need a fuel source. But then everything else, all the ancillary stuff around it does change. And so these things, by looking at that, you can kind of peek into the world that, and I've always just said that cooking out is like time travel anyway. If you travel different areas, barbecue tastes differently, and that's what you want. It should be regional, but it's also, any 50 miles or 50 years you go, barbecue changes, and that's a good thing, because that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes, it's kind of you explore that way, if that makes any sense. You can, if somebody's got barbecue in your neck of the woods, is going to taste different than my neck of the woods. And even if I just go, 50 miles outside of the city, it's going to taste different too, because they use a local regional stuff with, the animals that are available, the plants that are available, and even the immigration, the people who came to that area from a different area brought their foodways.
Different influences.
And a lot of times, those foodways outlast civilizations. They're bringing them in for, from maybe, 200 years ago when they might have migrated from another area, type of thing.
Right.
Yep. So, then we were also talking, with you buying the books and everything. You recently got a new to you. It's not brand new by any stretch of the imagination, of a book that you got from London about charcoal and charcoal briquettes, and we're popping the title page up on now that you had sent me on the screen. And this is dated, if I'm not mistaken, 1903.
Wow. That's right. And if you look at some of the stats, he's pulling those stats from 20, 30 years earlier than that. So that goes back to the 1880s, 1870s.
Which precedes, as people around here know, Henry Ford's, when Henry Ford started making briquettes.
So that story goes like he partnered up with Thomas Edison because Henry Ford hated waste.
Henry Ford is in the barbecue.
He had all this wood char waste, and so he wanted to do something with it. So he partnered with Thomas Edison and produced the charcoal briquette. Timing was bad because everybody was getting out of cooking on coal and cooking to gas and electric. So it didn't take on very far, and he eventually sold it to his cousin Kingsford, and that's where we get the Kingsford charcoal from.
Wait a second. Whose cousin was Kingsford? Was
Henry Ford.
Ford's cousin was Kingsford.
Henry Ford came out with, because he hated waste in the factory.
Okay, and they were using
all waste. So whatever he
coal-driven factories back then, right?
And it was all the Model Ts were made out of wood. The control panel.
The Model Ts.
So he'd have all the
cut out for the dials and stuff. They had that wood plug.
So what to do with it? He started making charcoal with it, and then sold the patent to his cousin Kingsford.
No,
and the rest is
that
history.
That is a good story. Definitely didn't know that.
Henry Ford is in the Barbecue Hall of Fame.
And it says here, so with the help of a chemist, he took the excess scraps from his sawmill and pressed them into lumps held together by tar and cornstarch. Sure enough, they proved a quick and easy way to keep a fire hot. So there you go. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. But this book we're speaking of precedes that in the research to when the book came out. Like you said, it's 20, 30 years prior to that. So you're talking mid-1800s.
So I would imagine Edison knew about this guy or knew about his work and took this guy's work and just said, okay, well, this is what we'll do. Because those briquettes were being made. You could see, some of those sayings that in Germany and France, they were making these briquettes primarily they were using it for locomotion. They were using it for steamships. They were using it for a variety of things. But there are some recipes in there that you can see that and if you looked in there, they have one of the ones I sent you was coconut fiber, and now we're using coconut fiber as charcoal. He's got one for seaweed, and I didn't send you the other ones, but they got one for cow dung, and they got a variety of different recipes. And this is just good for cooking because it didn't have enough horsepower to move anything.
So, question:
those briquette machines you could see were patented in the European markets long before Edison, and I think Zoller was the one who was first credited with the patent in the U.S. The guy named Ed Zorlo or something like that. But those machines that existed in European countries predate that by 30, 40 years.
So I have a question. So on these locomotives, and I know in a lot of coal-fired pizza places, they use a special type of coal, acetate or something along those. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's more. I don't know what the difference is. It's more of a pure. They say
broke up.
So they do more. It's like a more pure burn. I'm just trying to figure out, how different that would be, coal versus the stuff that we use. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
There's a name for it. I want to say like acetate.
They used wood. They put, I guess different ones use different forms of heat. But to me, I thought they loaded up those ovens with wood, and then they cleaned out the wood, and they put the pies right there on whatever that mortar is that they use.
So Pepe's Pizza, in Connecticut. So they have one in Burlington, and I seen the bags of coal, and I asked those guys, what type of coal do you use? And they said it's the like acetate, or I can't. If someone knows what I'm talking about, there's a name for it. It's a cleaner burn to it, and I didn't know if you just knew, how that differs from.
I haven't heard of that before.
Okay, I gotta research that a little bit. Now I'm curious.
But I do know that when you, I'm sure you guys have done pizzas on your grill too. Oh, I like that smoke flavor. It gets into the cheese. It gets into the pepperoni. I don't care if it's a frozen pizza. I think it does better outside on a grill. I use lump when I do it because it has that smoky flavor. It gets into the dough. It gets into the cheese.
Yeah,
I kind of like more charcoal flavor in the pizzas.
I agree with that. I always throw a little bit of wood on top too. When I'm doing a pizza in the egg, I'll throw like a small piece of hickory or oak in there. Just to
hickory's the best for what we use it on.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more to it.
So
that is freaking awesome, dude. I'm trying to find the name of that.
Kent says acacia wood.
What is it?
Acacia wood. ACACIA. Is that the right pronunciation? Hey, look at me.
Acacia wood before. Yeah, it's probably we don't use it. Anything that B&B does, but it seems like that name's popping around in my head.
Oh, this is it right here. Anthracite coal. Have you heard of anthracite coal? I know a lot of pizza places use it. I didn't know if that was something that was okay. Yeah,
I will put on my list to look into.
You need to know what anthracite coal is, bro. You know everything else about coal. That might
that's one cool thing about
just
barbecue. You're always learning. I'm always learning something, and whether I'm eating something or somebody's cooking with something or adding something different, there's always something cool to learn about it. So it's more of a. You started out by saying barbecue nerd. Yeah, I can geek out on some barbecue facts. I do like it. And I never have enough.
Yeah. Like I was saying when we were talking the other day, I was just sitting there in awe, because I love talking to people like Ed, who just have this vast array of knowledge,
absolutely,
on things that I wouldn't even have thought of how deep it went. I could sit here and talk to Ed for hours and just be amazed, and I'd go through 3 pens, jotting down notes for sure. Mm-hmm. Ben, what were you going to say?
So it says right here, anthracite, also known as hard coal, is a hard, compact variety of coal that has a submetallic luster. It has the highest carbon content, the fewest impurities, and the highest energy density of all types of coals, and is the highest ranking of coals.
And that's what you see in the coal beds of a train when they're that's what they would use to fuel the trains with, as far as I understand. So when I asked, Anthony's coal-fired pizza, they're all over the place, right? I don't know if you got Anthony's. I know that they started out down in Florida, so I'm not sure if you heard of Anthony's coal-fired pizza, but that's the type. I said, what is the secret? What are you guys using? Any specific wood or wood? I asked, and they go, actually, we use anthracite charcoal. It's very cleanest burning coal, they said, that you could get, except for B&B Charcoal.
I love the plug.
Touché.
I love that.
I like the way you pull that all together, sir. Nicely done.
And on that
note, we're running out of time.
We're running out of time. So, Ed, thank you so much for taking some time out to join us. This was interesting. A ton of knowledge. We got guys in the chat saying their minds are blown on the history. And so we're gonna have to do another episode at some point down the road.
Absolutely.
Catch up on a little bit more. We'll dive in deeper. But where can everybody find you and B&B on social media, websites, things of that nature?
So just BCharcoal.com will take you to our website, and from there all the socials are linked to that. That's not my preview. Brittany handles all that. But so BCharcoal.com, they'll take you to our website. From there, there's blogs, different things that she's got. It's a really cool website. And then if you want to purchase it, like I said, we don't sell anything. Shipping charcoal's very expensive. So Ace Hardware right now, and selected Lowe's stores. So make sure you get into a Lowe's store and ask for it. And if it's not there, then they'll order more for me, and then we'll get it to those stores.
Awesome.
You heard that. Calling Pit Life crew, calling all pit lifers in New England pit masters. Head to your local Lowe's and ask them for B&B.
To carry B&B.
That's it. I mean, that's it right there.
And we'll get it more in there.
Guys, thank you.
Thanks,
Ed. Thank you so much.
Hold on with us while we wrap up.
I will get you Gray's information. Thank you for
Address.
for the hat giveaway there. That was awesome.
And just hang out one minute while we do our outro, and we'll be right back with you, Ed.
Crazy, huh?
That was
crazy.
What a great guest.
Awesome.
So much knowledge about something we use daily in the field.
Yeah. Between the coal and the grills and the vessels, depending on the
tip of the iceberg with his grills. We want to have him back just to talk about more grills next time.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And what he's learned about anthracite coal.
That's it. We'll get pictures of the grills. Oh, we can have some fun with this.
We're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Awesome. Well, that's it for this week, folks. We'd like to thank you all for joining us. Catch the audio wherever podcasts are found. Catch the video on Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. You'll have all our episodes right there at your fingertips. And it's not a bad idea because God knows that there's been pages just disappearing on other platforms. So hit that YouTube and you'll have us on both platforms.
Yeah.
On social media, find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Pit Life BBQ. And also,
again, like John said, follow us on Instagram as well as myself, the Barbecue Broker. I've been cooking some great stuff on the new backline. I did some awesome brisket sandwich I made the other day. Check it out. There's also my Facebook business page, the Barbecue Broker Catering LLC, and our awesome group, Pit Life Group, and the New England Pit Masters.
That's it. And also catch me on YouTube at Johnny Mags BBQ. You saw my jalapeno pasta
dude.
Cheese.
Come on. The only thing
I was told I should have called it a melt.
Look,
but
the only thing that would have made that better is one ingredient. Brisket. Next time, do a Texas Twinkie grilled cheese. What? Am I ruining surprises?
Yes.
Oh, whatever. I ruin nothing until you do it.
I got a whole bunch of lines.
Talk is cheap. Let's see it.
Questions and comments, send it to Pit Life BBQ podcast at gmail.com, you son of a bitch. And like always, subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit that share button. Yeah.
What?
Keep the stuff off the grill and not the driveway.
Come at me. The driveway's a mess.
And on that note, till next week, keep the smoke rolling.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.